Spoiler alert.
Welcome to Spoiler Alert. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Dustin.
From the writers of Gods of Egypt and Dracula Untold comes Morbius, the kinda much awaited spin-off movie into the Sony-verse, I guess. Who asked for this fucking movie?
I mean, look, Jared Leto is a solid choice. He deserves his own thing. He's a good actor. You can disagree, whatever. But who thought this was a good idea? Like from Jared's side, like it must have been a big paycheck.
Yeah. And even then, the only reason I know about Morbius is because of that 90s Spider-Man cartoon where Morbius was obsessed with plasma for some reason. And because they couldn't show blood, he had like five butthole-sized palms, holes in his palms to suck the plasma out of people. Because, you know, kids' TV, people being up in arms about violence in TV and shit. Like, Spider-Man couldn't even throw a punch at that show.
I would much rather have watched that than what I watched, though.
But I'll say this much. Morbius is the best comedy of 2022. This is my kind of bad movie.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
I haven't had this much fun at a movie since Cats.
Oh, yeah. Well, if we're going that route with it.
Yeah.
I had people talking in my theater, and I don't know if it was the aggravation of that or if it was the aggravation of me knowing that this thing had like a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, or whatever. But I literally verbally out loud said, shut the fuck up, which I never normally would do in a theater. But I did it. So, it already had me acting a fool before it was already halfway through.
Yeah, true story about that. Like at the Batman v Superman day of, like a bunch of frat bros at Franklin Park Mall were yelling at the top of their lungs and shit. And then one guy in the audience turned around and went, would you guys shut the fuck up? And got a standing fucking ovation. Right as the Warner Brothers logo hit.
Yeah, dude.
You would have thought that the Warner Brothers logo was the reason everybody had a standing ovation. No, totally. It was a guy telling him to shut the fuck up.
I mean, yeah. Come on, right?
Good and speaking of theatrical reactions, oh my God, the first action sequence with Morbius had my theater in stitches. Like that first Jared Leto crappy CGI from 1994 transformation had everybody in the theater rolling, myself included. And it's just so unbelievable. It's a film that thinks it's doing Zack Snyder stuff, but poorly.
Something. I don't even know what it thinks it's doing. Look, this thing does not have a soul, okay? Just like the vampires that it portrays, it doesn't have a soul. This was like, and I said this to somebody who was in the theater because we were all talking afterwards, one of those moments, but this film is like somebody took a C+ or a C level movie, completely removed the middle portion, and then went and watched it at half speed moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, you could clearly tell this was supposed to be an R rating, especially given you're seeing slash marks in this and black liquid that's clearly supposed to be blood.
I mean, they cut everything. I mean, I wonder when Jared Leto did this film, it was probably something completely different than when he saw it.
Yeah.
Because this thing moves way too quick. There's no exposition. There's a little bit of his childhood. We're supposed to just assume that the Milo character is, has a violent streak because he's defending himself after getting beat up as a child. But there's no, and these characters could have been cool. And they really, I guess my question for you and for whoever's listening is, what the fuck is Sony doing?
That's honestly my thought process too. Like, what does Sony have to prove at this point? Because at least with Venom, at least Tom Hardy is embracing the dumb. He's jumping in the lobster tank, eating the lobsters and shit. He knows what kind of movie this is. Whereas with Morbius, you have Jared Leto, who takes everything so fucking seriously and chooses to take this vampire werewolf thing with the utmost respect of a Ridley Scott film, whereas he's giving the performance he should have gave in House of Gucci to Morbius.
I just look, Sony, and again, like, here's me being controversial. Surprise, surprise. Venom 1 and 2 both suck horribly. They're just terrible movies. They're not good films. But I will say, that being said, Venom 1, a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You don't want it to end. But Venom 2, complete trash. They took all the fun from Venom 1, drained it out, put Woody Harrelson in there for some fucking 20-minute part, and then it's the same thing.
And cut it to 90 minutes.
Exactly. Now that Morbius has come out and it's terrible, right? Is this Sony's brand, Ryan? Like, is this what they're doing on purpose? Like, let's make cheap films on the Marvel characters that we have that are terrible, but they're so bad that they'll become cult classics. We won't have to spend money on them, because the end of Venom 2, the big showdown with Carnage, right?
Yeah.
It's like a 4-minute thing. And it makes no sense. CGI stabbing each other. The ending of Morbius comes out of nowhere, and barely any words are spoken. It's a rush of bats, a stab, and then it's over.
With the Hans Zimmer score from Batman, mind you.
Right.
Jesus. Surrounded by Jared Leto bats. And here I am riffing the movie going, Batman. Completely missing the fact that that's Hans Zimmer's Batman theme from the Nolan films. I'm like, oh my God, I hit a riff spot on.
Yeah, they totally ripped it off.
I just did not give a fuck watching Morbius. I was riffing it like it was Mystery Science Theater 3000. And the dude to the left of me was on the same wavelength.
How could you not be,
Yeah, I had to find some fun in this otherwise piece of shit Jared Leto vanity project that felt like it would have a new metal soundtrack featuring 30 Seconds to Mars The Kill as the leadoff single, because Jared Leto really wants that Oscar in 2005, god damn it.
I just think that it's really, we should take a deep dive look, whether we do that here or in another project or another podcast or whatever. Like, we really need to figure out, Sony is coming off of Marvel doing all of the work, basically. Yeah. And they came off with one of the biggest films of all time. They sort of reignited all of their old, not only did Marvel deliver you another fucking $2 billion zinger, right? But they also went ahead and reinvigorated every single Spider-Man project you could possibly have.
Exactly.
And made all the shitty ones from the past even better. Now people want more. And then this is what we get. And then Venom 2 is what we get. Like, it's almost as if they're telling people, just churn this out in 18 months. We're not going to spend that much money on it. It's okay if it sucks. Because they're all that sort of shiny, don't tell you much about the backgrounds of the characters, sort of like fake world. I mean, nobody wants to see what's going on. Like, no one cares about this world. They don't make us care about anyone.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Morbius. Out of all of these, if I had to choose which one was the worst, it would be Morbius. Because I barely knew who any of these characters were. I didn't like Morbius fighting against other Morbius. because there's no real character establishment to Matt Smith. And yet Matt Smith's like literally carrying this movie on his back on its charisma alone, in which literally the only unironically good scene in this film is him doing the emo Peter Parker dance with his crappy CGI from 1994, looking like the gangster when he puts the mask on in The Mask. All I want is one last kiss. That's who that looked like to me. I'm like, this doesn't even look like it's from 2022. It looks like it's from 1992.
Yeah, it definitely. But there's a difference. This is so. I'm trying to think. You know, those movies that look insanely polished. Like, you know, I mean, Venom is one of them. For some reason, most of Sony's movies, it's like they try to sell their movies like they do their products. Everything is real shiny and polished.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for movies, you know, like even with Marvel, and people bitch about it, like, you know, they mute the colors, or sure, okay, whatever. Like, great. I just think that this is just another piece of trash from Sony. And I think, don't you think they're worried about what happens with Madam Web or with Craven? Or like, how can they keep churning out shitty movies and then saying, well, this next one will be better? I was like, what the fuck? No, they're getting worse.
Yeah, and I'm worried about Madam Web, especially given it's from the same writers of Morbius, because they have two great actresses already cast in this role, Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney. I do not want to see either of these two in these movies, because Sydney Sweeney is going to be that A-list actress on the rise, thanks to Euphoria.
And she's totally playing fucking Black Cat. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, I'm going Black Cat too. And then how are you going to tie Madam Web into all of this is my next question. Because it just feels like you're doing Spider-Man without Spider-Man yet again.
Right. I don't know. And how do you introduce a Spider-Man, let alone the correct one, into any of these universes? I don't want to see Andrew Garfield fucking take on Venom. No way. I don't want to see Andrew Garfield take on Morbius. I don't want to see Dakota Johnson crawling around in some fucking... I don't understand how they're going to be able to do that. Like, it to me, I just don't get it unless, and hear me out, unless this is part of the plan. Let's make crappy movies. Let's churn them out fast. Let's make them slightly better than B-list things. We don't have the time or money to put them in, because they've always done that. They've always taken the easy way out. With Raimi, they cut corners on Spider-Man 3. You know, with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man 2, they fucking cut corners there. It was like more. Mm-hmm. But how stupid do you have to be? You got this beautifully redone lightning in a bottle moment where it's like, wow, we could go back into these fuck ups we had and just cash grab them, right? But if we do it the right way, we'll make everybody happy. It'll rain money forever, action figures for everyone. And yet they just keep fucking it up.
That's because you have Avi Arad and Tom Rothman in on this too. These are two notoriously shitty people. Right. Avi Arad, of course, being the producer of these movies, and Tom Rothman, the new head of Sony Pictures, who didn't want to greenlight Deadpool.
Right. Oh, God.
Yeah. That's what you're factoring in here. Like, Tom Rothman is just riding the coattails of No Way Home at this point. He was thinking that the big post-credits reveal... Okay, screw it. Let's just get to the big post-credits reveal. Yeah, Michael Keaton is now in the Sonyverse, and I hope to fucking Christ Sony dumped 2 dump trucks full of money on his doorstep.
Yeah, I mean, what? What the fuck, dude? That first scene, he just magically appears, and I get it. But even like the fucking the purple crack in the sky, even that looked cheap.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sitting here, and it was already leaked. And I didn't even bother to watch it because I wanted to go into this with an open mind. And I did go into this with an open mind because I was like, this movie's probably going to be mid as hell. I'm probably going to give this a 2.5. Because from the trailers, it looked like it was trying to do something different. And when I got it, I was like, yep, this is the worst Sony-verse movie, period.
So far.
But at least I'm riffing it Mystery Science Theater 3000 style and get some sort of entertainment out of it.
I mean, there's just no soul to this film. And if you thought Venom 2 didn't have a soul, this thing doesn't even have like a fucking a body from where the soul should have come from. Like this thing is just like, it's so empty, it's so hollow.
Yeah,
it's almost like a commercial. This is like this movie is like a commercial. Even him driving his car out in the desert, that's a fucking car commercial, dude.
Yeah. And then going at the very least though with Venom Let There Be Carnage, they had Robert Richardson, who is essentially the American Roger Deakins, doing DP work on it. It looked great. Woody Harrelson, for the most part, was fine in that movie. I didn't really connect to any of these characters, save for Matt Smith. And that's because he's the only person giving an actual performance in this movie.
Yeah. I just feel like I don't know, man. This thing is in tatters, you know?
Yeah. At the very least, Matt Smith, going back to what I said earlier, is embracing the dumb of this movie. He knows this movie is shit. He's having the time of his life, hamming it up. And I love actors like that.
Yeah,
like
I think
Eddie
that's
Redmayne,
the character, right?
Like Eddie Redmayne in Jupiter Ascending, when he knows the script is shit, and he's just having the time of his life. Like, I create life! Like, shit like that. Like, I love actors that just don't give a fuck. And Matt Smith in this movie doesn't give a fuck.
No. And, you know, it would have been a lot more fun if we would have like hung out with the dude a little bit for 10 more minutes, you know, and like we would have known, then we could have got into it more with him. Like instead we're just watching and like, you know.
And who's the female character? Why should I care about this forced love interest?
It's so forced.
What? This forced 20 years younger love interest of Michael Morbius. Because, well, Jared Leto allegedly has allegations against him.
Does he really?
To say the least. Yeah. Apparently, he has numerous allegations of sexual assault against him. I'm just going to call them allegations for legal purposes.
Wait, like new allegations or?
Like from when he was in 30 Seconds to Mars.
Well, he still is, but you mean like when they were touring or something?
Touring, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew that he had like a sex dungeon or something and he was like tying people up or whatever, but I thought it was all consensual.
Yeah. Apparently he has a cult.
I believe that. He seems like kind of a cult guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, then, cool.
Yeah.
But don't hurt people. Make better movies.
Exactly. And I'm watching these two together who have zero chemistry together. And here comes the other unintentionally hilarious scene where this forced love interest is dying. And here's Jared Leto, intense as hell, like looking right into her eyes. And a drop of blood comes out of his mouth and into hers. And she wakes up. I'm like, oh my God, this is so fucking hilarious.
I thought he bit her.
No, it was the little bit of blood that came out of his mouth and then dropped into hers.
Oh, God. I mean, what the fuck, dude? I mean, what a mess. I mean, what a mess.
And then you had the big CGI fight scene, which you're fighting, in which Morbius is fighting Matt Smith Morbius. And again, I don't know enough about these characters for me to even care. I cared more about live action Transformers fight sequences than I did this fight scene.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I cared more about the nighttime fight scene in the first Venom than I did this fight scene because I at least knew who Venom and Riot were.
Yeah, but like Venom and Riot is the same exact fight, except now they're vampires.
Exactly. And that was the other thing too.
Oh, it's just so bad.
6 fucking delays.
Ugh. So what do you think happened? Like they had all this extra time, right?
Yeah.
To fix it or to whatever. They do Spider-Man No Way Home comes out, almost hits like 2 billion or some crazy shit. And then we get this 3 months later after a reshoot. Like I don't understand. Like apparently all the MCU stuff was removed.
Yeah, all the stuff from the trailer was removed.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how we got here.
Yeah.
If they knew they had a shitty movie 2 years ago, then why didn't they try to fix it? A. And B, what was it about Spider-Man No Way Home's success that made them go in and make this film worse?
Yeah. Like, why did Michael Keaton have to go in and do reshoots this year?
Yeah.
That's my main question. Especially after the fact he's doing Batman right now.
Yeah, that's insane.
And then you can just see he's completely phoned it in at this point. It's like, okay, I got 2 truckloads of money dumped on my doorstep. Fuck it, I'm going to deliver these lines.
Pretty much. I mean,
and going back to what you said, I can't believe in a million years I'm saying this, but if you're going to bring Michael Keaton's Vulture into this, you got to bring Kevin Feige in.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to have Kevin Feige straighten this shit out. Have it be Amazing Spider-Man 3. Dump 2 truckloads of money on Andrew Garfield's doorstep. Dump 2 truckloads of money on Mark Webb's doorstep. Because people are really wanting an Amazing Spider-Man 3 after seeing Garfield's performance, and people want Spider-Man 4 after Tobey Maguire's performance.
Mm-hmm. Better call Kevin.
Exactly.
Like for real. Better call Kevin, motherfucker.
Why not try and bring Tom Hardy's Venom in, which was a big cock tease of a post-credit sequence, because Venom doesn't factor into the No Way Home at all. He just is kind of there. He just shows up, he's in the hotel room, boom, he disappears.
Yeah. But in this one, Michael Keaton comes from the MCU into
the Sonyverse.
What? Why?
Yeah, it narratively doesn't make sense, especially given that Spider-Man Homecoming sets up since their Sinister Six with Michael Mando as Scorpion, the guy from Breaking Bad.
Right. But then Michael Keaton says to Michael Morbius, I think we could get some guys together and do some good. Do some good. So this is going to be like a Suicide Squad project then?
I don't know. Like,
do some good.
What?
And Michael Keaton's fucking mask, his Vulture mask, never comes off, which means he wasn't even there. He just voiced over it.
Yeah, that was ADR.
Yeah, and fucking Jared Leto says intriguing. He drives all the way out in the middle of nowhere into the desert to meet this guy at 3:30 in the morning to say intriguing. Also, why didn't he fly?
Exactly.
What is going on?
Exactly. Doesn't he have that super flying power that was just established?
I don't get it. I just don't. I'm so perplexed as to how they are not just cringing with embarrassment at their film at this point.
It just makes me want to watch Underworld, a movie that's actually good, especially given Daniel Espinosa keeps relying on that blue tint from Underworld throughout the entire movie. I'm like, God, I'd rather be watching Underworld right now. You're lucky I'm at least riffing this movie and having the time of my life as to how shitty this movie is. Because
yeah, it's not good. This is very bad. This is very, very bad. I'm so, just from a business standpoint alone, I'm so weirded out. I just can't fathom how they're getting another chance at just straight gold coming out of the ground into their pockets, and they're just blowing it. It has to be on purpose. I mean, how many people screen these things before they leave the studio? 100, 200.
Yep.
I mean, come on. What do you think Kevin Feige said when he saw it?
I don't think Kevin Feige really said anything.
He's got to know, Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, I think we should start questioning what exactly it is Sony's doing, and are we going to allow them to keep taking our money? Because the reason why the MCU works, outside of the fact that we're getting all these fantasy characters that we grew up with, that we never thought we'd see together, and all the joys of that, the reason that the MCU works as well as it does is because, love it or hate it, cookie cutter or not, that it's going to be quality, maybe not of an artistic, like, auteur level, but it's going to be a quality, like, superhero film. It's going to be a quality product when it leaves the stable. And here's the thing. The reason why that's so good for us, the reason why we embrace that so much, is because we were shit on with these films for 30 years. We got a great one in Batman 89, and then got a great one with the first two X-Men films, a great one with the first two Spider-Man films. And then they said, oh, you know what? Let's just make a shitload of stuff and just take this fucking approach. That same approach that they took with Daredevil, the original Daredevil film, or Elektra. The same approach that they're taking with they took with, like, X-Men 3 and all of the other crappy fucking one-off superhero movies they did. That's the same approach they're taking here. They're doing it all over again. So they should not be trusted.
And that goes back to Tom Rothman, as he was head of Fox at the time with those movies.
Exactly. I just don't understand. I don't understand. Like, I don't think as a public, like, okay, we're seeing the box office numbers come in today. Looks like 39 point something, maybe 40 million. For Morbius. That's just gonna in your opinion, are they just gonna greenlight a Morbius 2 then?
Oh, God, no. It's probably gonna see a BVS level drop next week. It's gonna see a huge fucking drop next week, especially given Sonic 2's coming out this week.
But I feel like there's a level of fanboy out there that's like, fuck the critics, we'll show them, and that's what they're doing with this movie.
And that segs to my next point. You have toxic Snyder stands gassing this movie up because Jared Leto was in it.
Oh, man, what a strange world we live in.
There are people who literally think Morbius is a masterpiece on Twitter. And I'm sitting here, and I'm like, how? But there was one guy I read on Twitter, Richard Newby. I've interacted with him a lot on Twitter. He's a really good guy. He writes for the Hollywood Reporter. And he actually wrote a really good article tying it into Morbius and how superhero tribalism has become a major problem. And I loved that article. I thought it was a really well-written article. And he gave valid reasons as to why he liked Morbius. Whereas you have toxic Snyder fans who really want Jared Leto Joker to see Jared Leto Joker again, gas this movie up because. And they're bragging about that $40 million box office, pretending that the Batman didn't make $132 million domestically.
Oh, God, it's so strange. I mean, the tribalism and all that stuff, sure, but like, what the fuck? Like, it just needs to be a good film.
Yeah, that's the one thing I look into most. Do I care about these characters? That's my 5-star system. The writing, directing, acting, cinematography, and the last star is overall impact. Will I be repeat watching this movie in 10 years?
Right.
And the only thing I could say about this is Matt Smith is carrying this movie on his back.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, yeah, we know you're a villain, bro. We get it. And we know like Morbius in the comics is like snarly and gross and whatever. And we all like praised the choice to make him comic book accurate or whatever. But as we saw with the fucking Kingpin, you know, in the goddamn Hawaiian shirt and the fedora and fucking all that stuff, sometimes comic accurate just doesn't work well for the film. Yeah. And so I would venture to say the big problem that they're having is that these heroes, these anti-heroes, these vampires or whatever, are insanely like not attractive. They're like really gross looking, sort of like fucking characters. No kid is going to be like, I want to be that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be that. So I think they fucked up there.
I don't think any kid is going to want to be Morbius for Halloween, but you know who they're going to want to be? They're going to want to be Spider-Man for Halloween.
Yeah.
They're going to want to be Green Goblin for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Totally. That's a good, totally. 100%. 100%.
And then going back to Twitter, did you hear Tyrese literally thought Martin Scorsese praised Morbius?
Oh, God. Why would he think that ever?
Because there was some shit post in which it made it look like that Martin Scorsese praised Morbius, when we all know what Martin Scorsese's stances on the MCU are.
Wow.
And comic book movies in general.
That's just crazy.
And you wonder why I couldn't take him seriously in this movie as a detective.
No, he phones it in too. So is the other guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not really given much to do. And in the trailers, it makes it look like he's going to be Michael Morbius's buddy. He's clearly got a scar on his neck from something that happened to him, but we get no fucking explanation.
Yeah. And these two characters are out of a CBS procedural.
That got canceled,
And I'm trying to figure out how they factor into this, other than just being stock cop characters talking in CBS procedural dialogue. Like they're on an episode of NCIS.
Yeah, but there's no, I don't know, man. It's like there is something missing, right? And we've pointed out what it is. And then there's something missing I can't put my finger on. And I don't know what else to say, but like a soul of the film. Like Jared Leto could have been really good. If there was another 5-minute scene of him having some breakdown about his childhood trauma or being addicted to blood or whatever the fuck it was, and he was having trouble and he looked, you know, whatever, and they didn't just zip through it. This is like there's no soul to the film in a way that makes you really question what you're doing in the theater. Like, why am I
could see I could see a good performance with Jared Leto in this.
Yeah.
It's just that you could clearly tell this was written to be R. Then the Sony Disney shit went down. Then Kevin Feige intervened in this universe. And then Sony intervened again with this post-credit scene.
I mean, what do you mean Kevin Feige intervened? Like
No Way Home, trying to bring in Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
Well, yeah, but also that builds their universe for them, I think, right?
Bit. Kevin Feige just served them the world's biggest grand slam with this movie.
Right.
And they missed it.
Completely. They literally were asleep at the fucking plate. And that's just dude, as a fan, that shit is unacceptable, dude. Like no wonder. And I would argue this, even if you don't like what the MCU is doing, okay, you're going to see films like this because you want there to be more than that. You want there to be an alternative to the MCU. They're still Marvel characters, but they're darker, they're grittier, they're connected, but they're doing it their own way. They're not as good, but they're bloody, like whatever that thing is, right? They could be cashing in on that, right? So you have the people who don't like the MCU that are going to these films and they're championing them and they're all over it. Then you have people like me who love the MCU and they're going to these films hoping that this isn't that great, but I still got to see it because I want to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, me too.
You know? And like, hey, whatever. So you get the best of both worlds. And then you shit on both audiences.
Exactly.
That's so messed up.
And I'm sitting here thinking, how can this be improved? And
butane?
Exactly. At this point, yes.
Well, what were you going to say?
At this point, yes. But how are you going to build off of this? Because it's clear Sony wants to revitalize their Sinister Six script. Especially given they're bringing in Michael Keaton as Vulture. And then you have Tom Hardy's Venom.
Yeah, I mean... And dude, they're going to start eventually getting into characters that people care about more. And it's going to be really heartbreaking if they take this approach to it. If they take this, what I would call it a turn and burn, turn them out quickly, let them burn, you know? So
especially given if we're correct and Sydney Sweeney is Black Cat.
I mean,
and you get someone like, say, the writer of Black Christmas 2019, Sophia Takal. Like, not only are you going to piss off the alt-right, it's going to look like shit. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be poorly written. And that's another factor in, like, any way you slice it, any one of Spider-Man's rogues gallery has a personal connection to Spider-Man. Especially Felicia Hardy, as Felicia Hardy is a love interest of Peter Parker.
Right. But which one?
Exactly.
Which one well, and I heard, wait, first of all, why is the alt-right mad?
Yeah.
Well, why are they
Black Christmas 2019 was a notoriously unsubtle film.
They're like killing Republicans?
It was a notoriously unsubtle film in which literal toxic masculinity oozed out of the founder's bust and caused all the men to go crazy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's a really shitty fucking movie.
I hate the alt-right anyway, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I just... People should just make what they want to make and just like if people don't care, then just don't go see it. I don't know what, you know what I mean? Like we don't go see any of those shitty fucking straight to fucking VOD documentaries about how, you know, Trump
Dinesh D'Souza.
Yeah, like Trump is Dinesh really an alien. Fuck all that. Yeah. You just don't watch it. Okay. Fuck off. So there's that. But two, you know, there's a point we haven't brought up yet, and that is, I saw this on another YouTube channel last night after I got out of Morbius because I was just beside myself, you know, just chugging alcohol, trying to get it out of my brain. But I had watched a couple YouTube clips, and I think this one came from the Real Rejects or something like that. Those guys, they said that they had an insider tip from someone, or maybe it's somewhere else, but this was the fact or the idea that Sony did the post credits the way they did them because they don't even know what they're doing yet. They don't know what universe this exists in. Okay, Ryan, how could you not know? First of all, after all this time. Second of all, after all these delays, how could you not have a plan?
Especially given after we've seen what Zack Snyder tried to accomplish with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Zack Snyder had a clear plan with those three films. Whether you like them or not, he still had a clear plan with those films. those films are fine, really good, and great. And they built off one another. Whereas with the Venom movies and Morbius, they really don't build off of one another.
No,
they feel very disjointed.
Okay, disjointed is a good term, yeah. A good term, very good term. Because that's what this whole thing feels disjointed. From scene to scene, it feels disjointed.
Yeah.
The guy leaves his cane in the fucking cell and a bag of blood. I mean, it's just everything is so fucked up. There's no clear lines. He dropped blood in her mouth, but then I swear he bit her at the end to get his power up.
Yeah. I think that was the case too.
But we don't even care at this point because fuck us. What the hell happened? Damn, man. What a waste.
All right. So I take it I know what you're going to give this because you said this movie doesn't have a soul. Dustin, we're awaiting you to say my catchphrase. Go.
Wait, what's your catchphrase again?
I award Morbius no stars, and may God have mercy on its soul.
There you go. You said it for me because there is no soul to have mercy on.
Yeah, but my star rating was 1.5.
Yeah, I would give this, truthfully, I would give it a half star, 1 star, maybe.
1 star.
1 star, yeah. I just can't. I'm disappointed, but I mean, I feel like we knew from the very beginning back in 2019 when we saw the trailer, right? I feel like we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
But my question is you had trailer, 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no excuse.
No excuse.
And I won't be surprised if they're doing reshoots with some of the DC films that are being delayed to next year, especially given some of the backlash that's going on. But it's all got to factor into.
But why though? Just to alter the universe more, to get more. I mean, the end goal is always to make more money. I get it, but I'm just saying, why? Okay, what did they cut out on Morbius?
Something tells me, going back to what I said, this was clearly supposed to be an R-rated film. I think some serious beats were cut out of this movie. Some serious dramatic beats as to what you were hinted at. Because they really, really want that MCU money. And that's my main issue with both Venom movies, is if you're going to do the lethal enforcer angle, at the very least go R-rated. You have this chance to differentiate yourself from the MCU, and no, you're just copying the MCU's playbook, but amplifying everything I hate about the MCU.
Yeah, but just in a fucking shithole way.
Yeah.
Wait, was Venom 2 rated R?
No, PG-13.
Venom 1 rated R?
No, PG-13.
Oh, God. Yeah, they should totally have made at least R-rated cuts or something.
Yeah, there should have been R-rated cuts for both of those. And neither Ruben Fleischer nor Andy Serkis said there were R-rated cuts for those movies.
They just don't. I mean, they're not even fun to look at. All of these Sony films, that's the same thing. And so it makes me really wonder if they're doing this purposely, to say it for the millionth time. You just can't fuck up. Someone brings a steak to your table, and instead of eating it, being happy about it, whatever, you literally take it to the bathroom and shove it down the toilet. That's what this film is. That's what these Sony films are.
Yeah.
So I think it's some sort of turn and burn operation where it's we don't want to put up the money for these big whatever, but we'll put up this much money. But then again, they got big stars like Dakota Johnson, almost said Fanning, and Jared
Dakota
Leto.
Johnson, Jared Leto, Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, that's a lot, man. So maybe they blow
And like the hottest girl from Euphoria joining the cast of Madam Web.
Man, she's gonna make a fucking perfect Felicia Hardy. I just hope that's what I mean is, don't you think she deserves, like, Black Cat deserves like its own standalone film?
And that's what I'm saying.
Directed by
someone like say Catherine Bigelow or Emerald Fennell, someone like
make it low budget. Make her the cat burglar of fucking whatever, right? And slow it down a little bit, and then at the end do your post credits tag where she gets stopped by Spider-Man or fucking Venom or whomever. But they're not going to do that. They're going to take this fucking star, and man, I mean, that just sucks.
That just sucks because Sydney Sweeney is a great actress. She has some great moments of acting on Euphoria where I'm watching her, I'm like, yeah, this girl's going to be a star. I can feel it.
100%. 100%. Yeah, totally.
And honestly, I would have rather seen her in like the DC universe, especially given that Euphoria is on HBO. But she's got to get her big superhero movie out of the way, and I don't fucking blame her.
So she'll have a small role in Madam Web and then probably branch out from there.
Yeah.
I got to start asking myself, at what point am I going to stop going to these? Because I wasn't going to see Morbius, and then you were like, you got to see it. We'll do an episode on it. And then I'm like, I do want to, like, I don't ever not want to be part of the conversation. Like, the fucking zeitgeist. These are things that I enjoy. So I guess I'll go. And I went, and that's fine. But what the hell,
Do it, Dustin. Give it no stars.
I mean, okay, 0 stars. I feel like that's what it deserves. I mean, but I think Venom from me gets 0 stars. Retroactively, I don't think we ever did one on Venom.
No, we didn't. We just started this like 3 months ago.
Right. Well, Venom 2, whatever. So I'm giving all of the Sony Spider-Verse films, Venom 1 and 2, and Morbius, 0 stars. I'm going to go ahead and give Madam Web 0 stars too.
Yeah. And I'll probably just end up watching it for you and just ripping it like we did Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, dude.
But I will say this much. Morbius was slightly better than Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, it's saying so just much.
Slightly better than Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022.
Oh, man.
All right. I think we've rambled on long enough about Morbius. In the meantime, I'm going to go see Sonic 2 this week. A possibly good movie.
Dr. Robotnik. Right.
Be sure to like, comment, share, spread the word New Realms Media. Follow me on all my socials at New Realms Media. And until then, I'll see you next time.